Hi, welcome back. We got rudely interrupted when my camera battery died, so I'm just going to do a short little video clip here to finish up. We're holding on Kuf Chav Tes Amid Beis, Siman Tov Kuf Yud Beis, and I'm picking up by Mishnah Berurah Ois Katan Zayin. So the Ramah told us that we're allowed to transport. You're allowed to send food over to the non-Jew, and you're going to transport it by giving it to a non-Jew to transport it. Says the Chavetz Chaim, Mishnah Berurah Katan Zayin, Al Yedei Akum. You're going to send the food, you're going to transport it by giving it to a non-Jew to bring it over. Avaloy Al Yedei Yisrael. But a Yid can't bring it to the non-Jew's home. Why not? So the Chavetz Chaim explains, we're talking about a case where carrying it to the non-Jew's house would be prohibited. Why? Because there's no Erev. It's Haitzah. Afilu im hurak karmelis. And this is true even if the Haitzah would be only a Derabanan Dika Haitzah. Even if we're talking about, let's say, our Rishus Harabims, which most of our Rishus Harabims are really only a karmelis, so that the Haitzah is only a Haitzah Derabanan, still, even to do a Haitzah Derabanan on behalf of a non-Jew, that would be Asr. But if the non-Jew lives right on the same street as you, it's a type of street where you don't need an Erev, he's talking about. But if the non-Jew lives within the Erev, so there's no problem of Hitzah to bring it to his house, then you could send the food over even with a Yid. You don't have to send it. So the Ramah didn't mean that for some reason, als hilchas Yom Tov, if you want to send food to a non-Jew, you always have to send it with a non-Jew. He's talking about when there's a problem of Haitzah. If there's a problem of Haitzah, you'll have to give it to a guide to bring over. You can't have a Yid bring it over. Then Ois Katan Ches, then Shari, that's mutter, says the Chavetz Chaim, it's mutter, heicha de'ika mishum darkei shalom. Why are we being matter this? Why would we be matter you to do Haitzah through a non-Jew? Haitzah is Asr. So Amir La'akam on Haitzah on Yom Tov is also Asr. If it's Asr for you to do Haitzah for the non-Jew, it's Asr for you to tell a guy to do the Haitzah for you, to bring the food to a non-Jew. So what did it help? So it explains the Chavetz Chaim, Heika Deka Mishum Darkei Shalom. The reason we're willing to be matir this is because there's a Darkei Shalom issue over here. Otherwise, why are you sending food to the non-Jew? You're doing it for Darkei Shalom. So for Darkei Shalom, we'll be matir it. And says the Chavetz Chaim, Va'afilu derech rishos harabim. And this is true even if it's a real, and this is the way I'm learning the Mishnah Berurah, and I believe that I'm right. The Mishnah Berurah says over here that this is true even if you're asking a non-Jew to do Haitzah Daraisa. He's transporting the food through a Rishos Harabim to bring it to the non-Jew. Now that happens to be very interesting because if you look in Shin Chav Hey, in Sif Beis, you see this halacha is being taken from, if you look at Sharitzia and Ois Katan Yudalad, this is coming from a Magen Avram and Eliyah Rabbah. And both the Magen Avram and the Eliyah Rabbah say straight out what the Chavetz Chaim says over here, and that is that this is mutter even if the guy is going to transport it in Rishos Harabim. So Rishos Harabim is Rishos Harabim. There are those that want to learn this Mishnah Berurah, that this Mishnah Berurah means a Rishos Harabim Shalonu, our Rishos Harabims, which are not really Rishos Harabim, they're really Carmelists. But that's not what the Chavetz Chaim says. And that's not what the Magen Avram says, and it's not what the Eliyah Rabbah say. They all say Afilu Rishos Harabim, even Rishos Harabim. Yeah, if it's a Rishos Harabim Shalanu, which is a Carmelist, what do you mean Afilu Rishos Harabim? Afilu Rishos Harabim means even if it's a Daraisa, Afilu Rishos Harabim. Now the Chavetz Chaim sends you to Shin Chav Hey, Sif Beis. And if you look in Shin Chav Hey, Sif Beis, it says, Heicha de'ika mishum darkei shalom. When you have an issue of darkei shalom, mutter laseis loy oilishloyach loy al yedei eina Yehudi. You're allowed to send something to a non-Jew by giving it to a non-Jew to bring to him. And the Mishnah Berurah says, Mikol makom hitiru b'chol elu. This is mutter. Bishum delididon laharbe paiskim Ein lanu rishus harabim daraisa, because our rishus harabims are not daraisa. Now, if you stop over here, if you learn our Mishnah Berurah, and you see that our Mishnah Berurah says that you can ask the guy to bring it to the other guy even through rishus harabim, and then you see that the Chavetz Chaim sent you to Shin Chaf Hei, and then you look in Shin Chaf Hei, and you look in this Mishnah Berurah here in Shin Chaf Hei, and you see that the Mishnah Berurah says, why is this mutter? Because our rishus harabims are not really rishus harabims; they're really a karmelis, according to many poskim. So okay, so you might be tempted to learn our Mishnah Berurah here in Tav Kuf Yud Beis that that's what he means. He means the rishus harabim because it's not a real rishus harabim. But again, he's coming here from the Magen Avram and the Eliyah Rabbah, and they don't say that. And the Chavetz Chaim himself says afilu derech rishus harabim, which has to mean a real rishus harabim. So how do you explain Shin Chaf Hei? Very simple. You have to look a little deeper. You have to look at the Sharet Tzion in Siman Shin Chaf Hei. And here in the Sharet Tzion, the Sharet Tzion says, and I've cut Yud Gimel over there in Shin Chaf Hei, the Sharet Tzion says, Va'af harbe paiskim svira lahu degam l'didon islan rishus harabim. Many paiskim hold that our rishus harabims really are rishus harabims. So why is it mutter? Le'inyan shvus al yidei eina Yehudi samchinan bazeh ala makilin. Because since you're doing it through the agency of a non-Jew, since it's Amira La'akum, which is a Derabanan, therefore we're Mekel Mepnei Darkei Shalom. So here in Shin Chaf Hei also, in the Sharet Tzion, the Chavetz Chaim is telling you the only reason we could be matter this is because we are ultimately willing to be matter the Amira La'akum, even on a Daraisa, because Amir La'akum is already one Derabanan, we're willing to be matter it for Darkei Shalom. Now, in Shin Chaf Hei, he says there are really two things we could combine to be matter. A, there are those poskim that say that our rishus harabim is not a real rishus harabim. B, even if it is, okay, Darkei Shalom. So over here also, here in Tav Kuf Yud Beis, when the Chavetz Chaim says afilu derech rishus harabim, he means even if you're going to send it to the guy, you're going to ask a guy to transport it for you through a real rishus harabim. So it's going to be Amir La'akum on a Doraisa. Misham Darkei Shalom, we could be Mekel and we could be Materin. That's how I understand the Mishnah Berurah, and I believe that I am right. Okay, we're going to stop over here. So we'll pick up next time on Kuf Lamed Amud Aleph on the top line. Thank you so much for joining me for Limud HaTorah. The source of Limud HaTorah should stand Gans Klal Yisrael in good stead. Mitzvah Hashem tonight at what time? What time? I believe 8 o'clock. I'll be saying a Tehillim shir on Zoom, and it'll be on Tehillim, but it'll also be Divrei Hisayrus for coming to Rosh Hashanah. I hope you can join me. And the schus of Limud HaTorah should stand on Klal Yisrael in good stead. Everyone should have a tzivah teva, good command shkar. The Baruch should send Yeshuas, Refuas, and Parnasa to all those in need. Be well.